Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. I think there we are. Excellent. Okay. Welcome to our weekly live training here inside the Small Business Strategies and Solutions Facebook group. Welcome to all of our new members this past week. If this is your first live training and you're here live, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Say good morning. And so I can see who's coming in. I've got my phone set up over to the side here so I can watch for comments. And this is how we will be interacting when we do these live trainings. So good morning, Katie. As I see you guys pop up, I will try and acknowledge you and see your comments. There is sometimes a delay from what I see on my computer to what shows up on my phone, but I kind of do my best as we go along. So this morning we are talking about answering the question, are you a leader or do you want to be led? So being a leader versus being led. And when it comes to small business, everybody makes the assumption that you have to be a leader, right? And you don't necessarily have to be like this leader as we think about them in the general sense. So we're going to kind of talk about that as well. For those that are new, my name is Karen Kleinwort, and I have been doing business coaching and consulting for just over 18 years. Started this Facebook group a year and a half ago, really to create this safe environment for all of us to kind of come together, for me to share what I know so I can also learn. Good morning, Christy. And then that way, because right, we're always a student teacher. And so my experience, I want to be able to share what I know, what I've learned along the way, and what I am learning, because we're always learning. We never stop learning. And then for you to also jump in, ask questions of each other and help each other out. Because we are a big part of this book called Knowledge, and we each have this page. So my goal with this group is to really create an environment where you can feel safe and comment and ask questions and to lean in. My goal is to keep this group non-salesy and non-spammy. So if you create a post that kind of is on the borderline, I'll send you a little message with it. But Sundays are our Small Biz Sundays. So that's the day you guys can post everything that's going on in your business. You can post your specials, whatever products you have, whatever you want to share with the group regarding, selling. That's the Sunday is our day. Sunday is our small business day. So today we are talking about leadership. Good morning, Amy. And we are going to be covering three main topics. So confidence, your environment, and a strong vision. And some of you may not think that environment impacts your ability to lead, but it really does. And we're going to talk about that. And I'll kind of share how I've switched things up for myself. And it's made a huge difference for just me feeling more productive and not just busy. And we know the difference between those. So good morning, Leah. So with this, we want to be talking about confidence where you're building and improving it. Have you answered all the what ifs when it comes to your skill set and letting go of doubt, right? And there's, those what if questions. What if I did this? What if I tried that? What if I knew that? So we're going to kind of cover that. With the environment, we're going to talk about the what, where, who, toxic versus supportive. And yes, even as small business, owners that work from home, like I'm thinking about myself, like I'm in my home and my kids are at school, my husband's at work. Is it really a toxic environment? Right? Well, it just depends on what else is going on around me in my home. So, distractions galore kind of thing. So good morning, Desiree. And what does that look like to have a supportive environment to work in so you can be productive, so you can be confident in the decisions you're making? And then we're going to talk about the strong vision. What does that vision that you hold for your business? Good morning, Alana. Good morning, Amy, right? What does it mean to have a vision for your business, for you as an individual, as a leader? What does that mean, right? Keeping your eye on the prize. Because when we have a vision, we're going to make decisions that it's going to support that vision, which means we're going to achieve our goals. And we start achieving those smaller goals. Guess what happens? We circle back up to that confidence piece and our confidence begins to build, right? So when you think of where you're at in your business, whether it's just an idea that you're kind of culminating all the pieces and you're going, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, or you've been in business for 4 or 5 years, when you think of a leader, what does it mean to you? If you are going to be a leader, what does being a leader mean to you? What skills do you think a leader needs to have? Is there a certain experience, a certain skill, a certain level of knowledge that you as a leader need to be considered a leader in your industry? Because we talk about it when we're sharing our messaging and we're talking about our marketing and getting an idea of who our audience is. And one of the things we want to be able to say is like, we're a leader in our industry. But what does that mean? Right? So does it really mean you're like the number one salesperson or you have the biggest following? Does that really mean that you're the leader in your industry? And to be led, what does it mean to be led? Right? We think of, oh, led astray. I'm a follower, I'm not a leader. Right? You hear it all the time, especially as parents, right? We want to say, we want our kids to be leaders. Be a leader, don't be a follower. Jump in there, be a leader. Christy will know who I'm talking about, right? Be a leader. Right? So Christy says consistent action, showing up every day, no matter what. Yeah. Right. But what allows you as a leader to show up every day, to keep showing up? Right? Self-doubt is the number one killer of confidence. So, good morning, Heather. I think having an emotional intelligence is one of the most important leadership skills. Yes. Right? Having an understanding, looking at the bigger picture, not always like that 30,000 foot level or the microscopic, but be able to flow back and forth, right? So self-trust, understanding that we can trust ourselves to make the right decisions when push comes to shove, or in the blink of an eye, because sometimes we have to make a split-second decision. We may not have time to take a step back, kind of breathe, get centered and go, oh, is this the right decision for me? Right? And Nicole's saying, yeah, self-trust can be hard. Like self-trust is a muscle we have to exercise. And the only way we exercise it is how? By putting ourselves out there, making a decision and being okay to fail and kind of going, oh, geez, that was like a really bad decision. Why did I make that decision? Why did I do that? And then kind of going, okay, I learned. I learned from that experience. How am I going to do it differently the next time? So letting go of self-doubt also means being gentle with ourselves and letting go of self-judgment. And that's kind of the hard part, right? Trusting ourselves means we can't judge ourselves. But then you say, well, how can we go back and learn from our mistakes if we're not going to judge them, good, bad, or indifferent? And you'd be right. And the difference is not living back there with the judgment. When you're going back and wanting to build that self-trust muscle, you want to be able to go back in the experience and say, what did I need to learn here? What could have been a different decision? Because we always say hindsight's 2020. What that means is we're going to go back and we're going to learn so we can apply it differently in the future. We only know what we know. And as we learn, we know more. So when we're developing our confidence as a leader, we're looking at the idea of it's going to be okay to make mistakes, that I'm going to make a wrong decision. But what's the cost? It depends, right? There's always going to be a trade-off. So we're going to learn something. We hope it's not too big of a cost, especially on our pocketbook. Sometimes those do happen, right? So it's how do we know different the next time? Because as we begin to build our confidence and that self-trust to be able to make those decisions, what are we modeling for others around us? We're modeling that you can do it too. If I'm going to do this, you can do it. And then they all of a sudden begin to look at us and perceive us as what? Because we're making decisions that they only dream of making or hope to make, or are like, oh, I really want to be able to do that too. How can I do that? Because they don't have the self-trust yet or the confidence to kind of step out there and do that. Right? We're becoming that model. We're becoming that confidence model. Like we're showing them we were afraid to make mistakes. And these live trainings are a prime example. A year and a half ago, when I started doing them, they were horrible. Like, and this is where this is not self-judgment. This is truth, right? Like if I look back, yes, I'm saying they're horrible, but they're likely not as horrible as I might think they are. But I learned from them, right? I'm more relaxed now. I'm not as rigid. I don't have all my notes written out and sticky notes all over the place and, sweating through my shirts because I'm nervous. Why? Because I'm more confident and I'm okay to make mistakes. I'm okay if I say a wrong word, right? Or I don't pronounce it correctly. I go light on myself. But that only comes from the experience of putting myself out there and trusting I'm going to do better each time, right? So letting go of self-doubt means kind of looking at what are our skills? What's our experience? What's our knowledge? So the what if is, what if I had this skill? Well, for me, for the live trainings, what if I just had I don't know, like I had more information. Okay, Karen, what do you need to do? I need to research. I need to learn. I need to take a course, or I need to read a book or listen to an audiobook. Okay, so get on that. That's part of my goal. Okay, so keep learning, right? Well, what if I just had more experience? Well, you're not going to get more experience if you don't do it, or if you don't have a mentor or a coach to work with to help you gain the experience, right? And the skills go along with knowledge. So to go live every week, well, what skills I need? I need to kind of figure out how to go live. And that was a learning curve. Oh my goodness. I don't know if some of you remember when Facebook made the big switch where all of a sudden they weren't allowing you to easily go live via Zoom, and they added these multiple steps you have to go through now. Boy, the first 2 or 3 times I had to do that, I was a mess because I didn't have the skill. I didn't have the experience, but I did it and I kept pushing. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, when I get that error message, I know what to do. And I get the information I need and I hit the button and we're good, right? I don't stress about it because why? I have the experience now and I have the skill along with the knowledge. So my self-doubt about how I can come and go live with you guys every week is gone. I'm confident I can do it. I trust myself now to be able to set everything up and come to you and support you and ask, questions and provide advice. And you guys ask me questions, right? I'm confident in that now. So now that I'm confident in the skill piece, guess what happens to these trainings? They just become better for you because there's no distractions for me mentally or emotionally, right? So increasing our confidence, allowing ourselves to create an opportunity where we will fall and not be perfect, and learn how we can improve and apply that lesson later on, right? So questions about confidence, because like over in the Women's Business Resource community under the Pro Tools, there's a ton of workbooks and worksheets, and there's a couple of courses on building your confidence. And those are great, but confidence and developing our confidence can be different for everybody. So if each of you who are watching and listening, whether you're here live or on the replay, what's the one thing, skill, task to do that you're nervous about doing because it's new and you don't quite have the confidence behind it? And so therefore you may be avoiding it. What's the one thing that gets you nervous? Hiring an independent contractor, Nicole says. Oh, good morning, Deanna. Right, hiring an independent contractor. And the hiring process absolutely can be nerve-wracking. I don't know if it actually will get easier, Nicole. You'll have more clarity around the skills and the experience that you want, but knowing you're hiring that right team member is so important, right? Even as independent contractors, they're still part of your team. They're still part of your organization. So hiring is definitely something that gets people nervous and uncertain. So to make it less nerve-wracking or doubtful for yourself, what do you think you might need to do? What's out there? Good morning, Danica. What do you think you might need or could do or could ask? Is there a certain skill? Is there a certain piece of knowledge? Is there a certain experience you might want? And this goes for any of you, right? Because at some point, as your business grows, being a leader isn't necessarily just being a leader in your industry where, other people that do what you do look to you as a leader, but it's also being a leader within your organization where you're hiring a website designer or a VA or somebody to do your email marketing, right? They're all part of your team. So you're going to be a leader in that. So when you're having to hire somebody, bring somebody on board, whether it be an independent contractor, short-term, long-term, what are some of the things you might need or would want to know beforehand? Not about the person, but about the process. The steps that you're going to go through, what kind of questions you're going to ask, what kind of tasks they're going to be doing for you, expectations, right? So clarity around what that is that person's coming in to do. So those are kind of like the things you want to be thinking about. And not just when you're hiring somebody, but when you're working with anybody on your team, right? So you want to be able to have that clarity of expectation. So confidence, building that self-trust muscle, right? Always improving. Because as we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, guess what happens? We get a little bit nervous. We get a little doubtful. Can I do this? Can I trust myself to take this on? As our business grows, our confidence is going to also waver because we're learning new things. We're expanding in new areas. So developing your confidence never stops. It's something you're always going to be working on. And that lends right into the environment. So when you think of being a leader and the environment, what comes to mind? What comes to mind when you're thinking about, I'm going to be a leader for my business or a leader in my industry, a leader for my team? What does environment mean to you? And when we were talking at the beginning, I had mentioned the what, where, and who. So thinking of those three elements, what does environment mean or imply? And I'd mentioned toxic or supportive. And we all know we've been and I can't say you've all been there, but I'm pretty sure some of us have all been in a situation where we're working in a corporate business office type setting or working for somebody else and there's a toxic environment. And it's not enjoyable to go and work there anymore, or it's a very supportive environment, right? It's kind of, so when you think of environment as a small business owner, and I'll use myself as an example, right? I'm in my home. So my environment, I want to make it as supportive as possible. I want my environment to foster my creativity. So we have a space in our home that we've used as a home office. And I've hated it. Like we've lived here for 10 years and I'd try and work in there. And then all of a sudden you'd see me, I'd be at the kitchen table or sitting in the living room on the couch, or, I'd be somewhere other than the office because it wasn't a supportive environment for me. I felt closed in. I couldn't see the outside. Right. And so for me, the toxicity wasn't that it was negative, it just was confining and distracting because I'd be sitting there trying to work and something like, oh, that needs to be filed away. I should really do that. Okay. So, that never really goes away. It's still here, but it looks different. So I move myself out into a different space where I have windows. So now it's a much more supportive environment. It fosters my creativity because I can look outside. I can see whether it's raining or it's sunny, or if it's, now this winter, if it's snowing kind of thing, right? So when you're thinking of your environment, is it fostering for you to be productive or busy or distracting? And this even goes where, when I worked in corporate, my first office, it was, it had windows and it was in an office building, like a high rise. But then we moved to our manufacturing plant and we all consolidated there. And I was in the center of the manufacturing plant inside a cubicle with like no windows and, it was like a main thoroughfare, right? I was just kind of, and so it wasn't really supportive for me to be able to sit and focus and be productive. So again, I was always picking up my stuff and trying to go to a different place to work because I couldn't manage that, right? Like I realized I need the outdoors. I'd be able to see my outdoors. So for that, what is your environment for you when you're working? What does it look and feel like? Is it supportive for you? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel at ease? Or is it making you feel hurried and rushed and I just need to get this done and like stressful? It's adding stress. So you want to identify, what does that workspace environment look like for you? What is best for you to be able to be productive and creative and really be able to focus on your clients or your customers or creating your products? Because that leads into, if you do have a team and we say, yeah, there's virtual, right? So, the pandemic allowed us to learn what it meant. Everybody's working from home and we're doing Zooms. But what does that team dynamic look like? Because that's the other environment. We talked about hiring, with Nicole when we were talking about confidence, the team dynamic. And what does that environment look like? How are you communicating? What's available for you to be able to have conversations quickly and easily? What are the boundaries around that? Right? So what does that team dynamic look like? So we're talking about the who. And that goes back to having confidence and self-trust in who we're going to hire or who we're going to work with. Right? So the what and the where really are dependent upon what's important to you and how you work best. And then the who is about who you are, who you want to work with, and those team members that are coming forward that you're working with. Right? So when we were talking about toxic versus supportive, you kind of want to put that through those filters. Is the environment supportive? or not? Is the environment healthy for a positive team dynamic and interaction? And the groups you belong to, right? Is that a supportive environment? So you want to remove those obstacles or change them because they're going to hold you back. As a leader for your business, you need to be productive, not busy. You need to be in an environment that facilitates you to be creative and happy and joyful and loving what you do. Because when we're talking about growing and building our business, being a leader means we are going to hold that and bring it forward. Because the stronger we can be around our confidence and around where we're working and how we're working and we're communicating with others, means what? Means we're going to be able to lead easier. It'll become more natural, right? So, and when we're able to be more confident, we're more natural within that leadership role, we will choose to be a leader more than to be led. And then what happens with our bottom line? It starts to improve because now we're stronger with our decision making. We know exactly where and how we're going to do things. And we're okay with making a decision and then, oh, shoot, that wasn't good. I'm not going to do that again, but I'm going to learn from it and make it new next time, right? So, and as a leader for your business, that kind of the environment and the confidence blends right into the last thing we really want to talk about. And that was the vision, creating a vision, a strong vision, having clarity around what that vision looks like. So when you think of your vision for your business, how often, let me rephrase that. For your vision, how many of you have an idea of where you want to be in 6 months from now or 18 months from now? Do you have an idea? Do you have clarity? What does that look like? What does your business look like in 18 months from now? I'm going to go to the happiest place on earth and have a sip of my coffee while you guys think about that. Where do you want your business to be in 18 months? From where you are now, where would you like it to be? So for the Women's Business Resource Community, I have some very specific goals in mind. And everything we're doing, every decision we're making is about supporting those goals and where we're heading. So having 1,000 members in 18 months from now means what? What am I going to make sure I'm doing to reach that goal? And mind you, that's a scary goal for me to say out loud, just so you know. But I said it more confidently now than I did like 3 months ago. So why? Because I've been building that self-trust that I'm making the right decisions and creating the environment that's supportive. So where do you want your business in 18 months from now? And you don't have to share it, but drop your favorite emoji in the bottom in the comments and let me know if you have a number in mind. If you have your vision clearly defined for where you want your business in 18 months from now. Because I don't know about you, but I can get caught up in the day-to-day. I need to get this done. I need to get that done. Like we just launched the Small Business Directory. And so for the last 3 weeks, my head has been down, focused on what am I doing? I need to do this. Okay, so that needs to be, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, head up, Karen. Where do you want to be in 18 months? Is what we're doing right now going to help us get there? And ironically, there was always a directory within the community. I had never put any focus on it. So yes, having that small business directory where you can go and search other members and, find support that you need in the area you're looking for absolutely supports us growing the membership base, because it's a new added feature that we've just refined and will continue to improve over the next year. So every decision you're making, heads down, working day to day, doing my social media, doing the content creation, working on the pro tools, writing the insights. Oh, head up, Karen. So you need to figure out what that vision is, and it has to be super clear. No ambiguity. You have to know exact. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And depending upon products, what does it smell like? Right? You want to know all of it. And you want it to be super clear. Because when you're super clear around your goals, you will have a much easier time of looking up and looking out, adjusting, and adapting. So Amy says she's still trying to figure it all out, sort of spinning my wheels. This topic is very helpful. Oh, yay, I'm so glad, Amy. Excellent. So, right, so figuring out your goals are really important, because if you don't know what your goal is, if you don't know where you're going, you will not know how to get there. And as a leader, you want to bring people along to help you achieve that. And if you're not bringing people along, then you're going to be doing it all by yourself. And I will tell you from personal experience, it does not work. You cannot do everything and think you're going to be successful. You will need a team. What that looks like will be different for each and every one of you, based on your business, your product, your service, etc. You will need a team. And sometimes the team might be, having your kids go and help you with something, but they're still part of the team, or having your partner help you with something, right? They're still part of your team. So keeping your eyes on the prize, understanding your goal, because if you're going to create this amazing business that's going to be not just thriving, but flourishing, you're going to have people that you're going to be leading along the way. And you need to be able to articulate what the vision is so they can see it, they can feel it, they know it, and they believe in it, right? Then that's when you really step into that leadership, because now with your vision, you can say, this is exactly what I want. And they get excited. Even if it's your best friend and you're sharing it with your best friend, you're like, this is what I really want to do. This is what I want to build. And this is where I want to go. They're going to be like, yay. And they're going to be your biggest cheerleader, right? So you need to have the vision. So yes, we can use the SMART acronym, right? When you're talking about goal setting, you can, and there's a whole training on SMART acronyms up in the guides, but you can do that. But in the end, those goals you create have to support the vision you have. So, because every decision we're making towards each of those goals, every goal we set has to support that vision. And that's when you really have stepped into that leadership role. Because now you're speaking with a sense of confidence and authority around your vision, around your goals, and where you want to head and the impact you want to make. Because part of that vision is what impact you're making on those that you interact with, whether it be your customers or your clients or your team members. Part of your vision is the impact that you leave behind. So when you think of your vision now and 18 months from now, based on where you're at today, where do you want to be? What clarity do you have around that vision? And how is everything that you're doing on your day-to-day with your head down, working away, supporting you as you put your head up and you go, That's my vision. What I'm doing right now is going to get me there, or it's going to get me a step closer. And this is part of, like, when you guys join this Facebook group, one of the questions you're asked is, do you want a 20-minute strategy session that's free with me? You all get it. This is what we can be talking about. Right? Nicole, we can be talking about the uncertainty around hiring that independent contractor, right? Amy, talking about how do we get you stop spinning your wheels? So if you have not taken advantage of that, I really encourage you to take advantage of that. We can do a lot in 20 minutes to get you guys started in the direction you want to go, especially around clarity regarding your vision and a strategy with it. So when you're thinking of being a leader and your vision, this is where absolutely you're going, I don't want to be led, because that means it's somebody else's vision and they're taking you along. You want to be a leader because you want to hold the vision and you want to not dictate it, but you want to basically state it, hold it, and own it. And you do it because you're confident. Why? Because you've let go of self-doubt. You've trusted yourself in making decisions along the way. And now those that see me working my business see me as a leader because I'm confident in the decisions I'm making. I'm confident in where I'm heading in each thing that I'm working on. And I say me, but I'm talking for you first person, right? So saying to yourself, I'm more confident, like that's where I want to go. And I know what I'm going to do to get there. But if I don't know what to do, then you go back to the what if questions that we talked about when we were talking about building our confidence. What if I try this? What if I learned that? What are the gaps? What if I figured out that gap? And then what if I figured out how to fill the gap? Then my confidence is going to go up. I'm going to make better decisions. And as simple as decision as just moving your workspace, like I did, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, excellent. I'm much more productive, right? And I'm happier. So guess what? Now I'm more confident working on what I'm working. I'm not second guessing myself. The doubt's gone. So thinking about your business, thinking about you as a leader within your business. What do you need to do? What do you need to do to take the next step to build and exercise that muscle of self-trust, to create a super supportive environment? Remembering the environment is not just where you are, but it's also who, right? And then gaining clarity around that vision that you want to hold. What questions do you guys have around shifting that perspective, shifting that mindset, creating a plan regarding truly stepping into that leader role? And I look at leader follower as the same as a student teacher. We are a student teacher. We are flipping back and forth. We are always learning. We are always teaching. It's just a matter of who's listening and who we're listening to. Leader follower, same thing. We will always be following as we are leading. We are following those that we seek to be like, that mentor us. And so we want to follow them. We want to learn from them, right? That does not mean you are not a leader in your own right. So questions. What do you guys got for me? Yes, Amy, it will be on replay. So up top of the group, there's the features. I always have the last 2 weeks pinned there. And then the rest are under the guides, or they can be found in the replay vault over in the Women's Business Resource community. So this one today, when it's kind of, when Facebook makes it available, I'll pin it to the top, to the featured. So. Any other questions? Any specifics? Put me in the hot seat. I'm okay with it. No questions? Okay. That's okay. Sometimes we talk about this and then it's all of a sudden later on, we think of a question. So if you think of another question, or if you think of a question, just come back to this video when it's, you know, the replay, and just put it in the comments and ask her a question as you think of it. And if I don't respond in a timely manner, it means Facebook hasn't sent a notification to me that there's a comment on this video, then DM me, or, you know, put the question as a regular post for me to see, and then I'll post it and we'll answer it. But I'm here to support you guys. No other questions? Okay, that's all right. Thank you all for joining today and for participating and just being here. I love it when people show up and interact, and I can support you guys as we move forward and you guys grow and flourish. It makes my heart happy when I see that happen. So thank you for being here, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Okay, thanks. You guys have a beautiful day.